As some of you may know, I have been doing quite a bit of art shows this year. And Saturday, 'twas my last art show, and it went swimmingly. But I had an interesting encounter, quite bizarre, you may say, with this fat white guy. And it reminded me of another quite bizarre interaction I had last year at one of my art shows. I was at my art show, and there was this man who was fantastic, and he was wearing this cape. I couldn't help myself. I yelled at him. I was like, "Hey, I love your cape, man." And he turned around, he looked at me, and he was so decadent. He decadently twirled around and modeled his cape for us. And then he walked up to me and grabbed my hand, and then he asked me if I had any lady friends that he could marry. And I think he said some other shit, but I do not recall because his speech was quite slurred. No, he was not as iconic as Cape Guy, but still very much so bizarre. He walked up to my booth and he looked at me and he said, "Where's the creative blah blah blah?" And I was like, "What? Creative blah 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 blah." And then he waved his arm at me and walked away. I was inspired by big fat white guy, and so I drew his embodiment. And then after I drew the big fat white guy as a fly, I drew a pig, and it looks quite pained because a big fat white guy fly is sitting on it. After that, I drew a person that looks quite perplexed over the situation, and underneath that person, I drew a fish. After that, I drew some hands that are gesturing towards the big fat white guy fly, kind of saying, "What the fuck?" And then after that, I thought of the cape guy. And so I drew a cloak type thing that kind of reminds me of a dragon priest. And then after that, I didn't know what the fuck to draw. And when I don't know what the fuck to draw, I draw mouths. This is my drawing for today. All I used was a cheap ass big pen. No erasers, just relying on my brain and my hands and my eyeballs, yeah! Big fat white guy, if you happen to come across this video, I'm just letting you know you're fucking awesome. And I still want to know what the hell you were trying to say to me. So please comment down below what you were trying to say.